Hello, everybody. How are you guys? I hope you guys are good. Hope you are having a fantastic day or night, no matter where you are. All right, so I have a lot that I want to discuss today. As you can see from the thumbnail, I I think at this point, I honestly think that people don't know what to believe, who they can believe, what they can trust, what they can't trust. And it, it's a very hard thing to be invested into a case and have it be like this one has been, as far as all of these different people, all of these different characters being involved, and tit for tat. It's very hard to try to weave and get through the tangled web, if you will. So I want to kind of discuss a little bit about that, and go into really the hunt for the truth, basically. So, as you come in, please do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. I'll just give, let's see. All right, give me just a second. I'm going to try to get just a couple of few more people in here. Because everybody always misses the beginning, and then I'm constantly having to answer questions about the beginning. But the one thing, while I am waiting, is I will say this. So the video that I put out, hey Nicole, no, it's for super chats. And my plan is to, if I can get enough, the goal is to talk about, do one live a day for the rest of the week, and each time introduce a new case, talk about a different case. There's lots of missing kids out there that all need attention. So that's kind of the idea behind it. But I just, you want to know that you have support. Hey, Banter with Boo Boo. Anyway, so the one thing I did quickly want to mention before I get started with today's live is the video that I had put out, talking about the America's Most Wanted and the box. And I should have thought about this, but not everybody's, but a lot of people's first thing was, well, they filmed it at an Airbnb. It wasn't at their house. Thank you so much, Nicole. Really appreciate that. So of course his stuff was in a box. But here's my thing. And this is all I was saying, was that they went and stayed at this Airbnb because they didn't want America's Most Wanted in their house for whatever reason. They didn't want them in there. I have my thoughts, but keep them to myself for right now. The point was that why it seems like every time they do an on-camera interview, they pull the same things out. Sebastian's pictures and these little toys, right? What's the need for that? I know everybody was like, well, of course the stuff was in a box because they had to bring it with them. But it kind of makes you think that, like, that's Sebastian's box. This is what we have left of Sebastian, and we keep it all in this box. Now, obviously, I can't say for sure that, it wasn't just put into the box and brought to the Airbnb, but it is my opinion that that's Sebastian's stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it just didn't come across that way to other people or what, but that's what I meant. Like, why every time they do an on-camera interview, they always pull out these little, the little toy crane and this other little thing. And then they had one of the Pops toys there. And it's like, you don't have to set a scene to do an interview. Like, why do you especially since we know you're not at your house, why are you setting the stage? Why are you setting the scene for this on camera interview? Do you know what I mean? That's what I was trying to say. Let me welcome everybody in. Hello, Ann. Hello, Kelly, Prayer Warrior, Nani, Sam. Hello, Poppy Love. Glad you guys are here. In my opinion, Sebastian is probably no longer Sebastian's room. Unlike at Seth's, he wants it exactly. I wish that they would have showed more of Sebastian's room. Hey, sweet sativa. I wish that they would have showed more of Sebastian's room at Seth's house. Like, they didn't show any of it. I was kind of, like, I just thought we'd see more than we did. Maybe I had too high of expectations for that interview. I just thought, or for America's Most Wanted, I just thought it'd been different, but it was a toy crane. CP is a crane operator. I have a nephew with autism, and he has many favorite toys, and they change quite often. Yes. In my opinion, it's the same old trying to mislead the public. Hey, Veronica. Glad you can make it. He loves playing video games, so it seems odd for him to play with those little kid toys. To me, I guess it's what is provided for him, though. Hi, Mom First, always. Welcome. Glad you could make it. For those of you that are just coming in, I have started a goal. I know I don't normally do that, but I want to kind of start introducing more and more cases, bringing more awareness to more and more kids, more and more missing kids, more and more cases. So I have set a goal, and if it is reached, then what I will do is every day for the rest of the week, I will do a live, one each day, and just dedicate it to each one a new case. Yes, they were at an Airbnb. That's true, Veronica. Like, that was the one really good takeaway from that was it did gain Sebastian's name was brought into homes that maybe otherwise would have no idea about his case at all. No problem, Kelly. I don't expect this case to move on anytime soon. Yeah, so many kids. There are so many cases that do need attention. So I want to do that. Oh, okay. So as I was saying in the beginning, there's been so many characters and people that have inserted themselves into this case, as you can see from the thumbnail. And I think the whole thing with sides and choosing sides and this, that, and the other, it's really made it very difficult to try to navigate through the web of nonsense. You know what I mean? And try to figure out what really did happen, who's telling the truth, who you can trust, who you can't. And it's absolutely crazy. And I know it's overwhelming for me. So I feel like a lot of you guys probably feel the same way. Like, this is too much. I don't know what to, I find myself sometimes going, I don't even know what to think at this point. You have a heart of gold, my friend. I appreciate you and the time you put into this for the children. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. I feel like they got rid of Sebastian's things, and that's maybe why they refused. Yeah, that's definitely a thought that's crossed my mind for sure. For sure. And the fact is, I mean, God knows what happened to Sebastian. He knows where he went. He knows what happened to him. He knows if anybody else was involved. We don't know. We can just call things out as we see them, or if we find something suspicious, we can just call it out. That's what we can do. But I do think that it's turned into such craziness at this point with, between lawsuits and this going back and forth, and it's really not good, and it's really bogged down like a real hunt for the truth. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about and discuss today. So I got some notes here, me and my notes, that I kind of wanted to touch on all of this stuff, because the fact is we don't know what happened. I mean, we all have our suspicions, we have our opinions, we have our theories, but none of us know for a fact what happened. And since it's been proven that we can't really go by the say so of anybody else involved, then we're kind of left at our own accord to try to figure things out for ourselves. You know what I mean? Well, we can only hope for Sebastian's sake. Yes. So again, before I hop into my notes, I'm going to ask you guys to please do me a favor, hit that like button if you can, if you have not already done so, and please make sure you subscribe to the channel and welcome in. Anybody who wants to become a member of the family, consider joining. We'd love to have you. Hi, honey. You took in mom's room. That I don't know. Sorry. See my family, can you explain what's going on with Julie and Tony? I came into her chat in just the last few minutes. What's going on? Thanks. Well, I haven't really talked to Julie outside of YouTube, and I don't catch her every time she's on. Oh, Veronica, thank you so much for the super sticker. It's very much appreciated. But what I can say is she's looking into Tony because Tony has inserted himself into this case, and you can't. I mean, she wants people to be aware that he has claimed to be in control or have some type of influence over the money or donations or whatever it is that Seth has coming in. And she's just trying to point out that, listen, he doesn't have the most savory past. And this just recently happened in April. So it's not really his past, it's his present. And he's kind of a shady character. So I think people should know that. Again, I don't think she's putting Seth down when she says these things. She's calling Tony out for his own actions. And I mean, that's all. Like, you have to talk to Julie. That's my takeaway from seeing the videos, right? That's what I took away from it. So yeah, you guys would have to ask her. Okay. So let me see here. Guys, I am doing my own live right now. So if you have questions about Julie's live, you're going to have to go back and watch the one she did today. All right. Now I noticed a lot of people were saying that, like, so as I addressed about the America's Most Wanted, I said the one thing I did like was that Seth looked directly at the camera. He addressed anyone who may have his son. I did like that. And I heard a lot of, I have seen a lot of people saying that, oh, Seth is just playing the part of the grieving father. And, he's just doing that for show or whatever. And, this is the thing. I don't know how people can say that. I don't know how people can criticize Seth for crying or grieving his son on camera and off. He's done it off camera as well. But I don't know how he can be attacked for, for crying and being a grieving father, and everyone accuses him of playing a part. But yet, if you say something against Katie or Chris and the way they portray themselves on camera, it's a huge thing, right? So it's not. People want to point out things about certain people, but they don't want to point out the things about the people that they support. Do you know what I mean? This is exactly what I'm trying to get through right now. Let's see. Seth is a very broken man. You can see it in his eyes. Tony was taken advantage of by a Ponzi scheme and filed bankruptcy after the death of his son, allegedly. And listen, I have not dug into Tony. I have not dug into Tony like Julie has. So, I don't know. You'd have to go to her for that. I don't have that information. I can just feel his pain when he speaks about Sebastian. It hurts my heart. As an autism mom, I've never felt anything from KP. I did find it interesting that after they played the clip of everything, before they went over to the experts on America's Most Wanted, the woman said, she's like, that father's pain. I mean, you can just feel it. So she did say that. She just didn't say it about the mom, which, I had a few issues with America, but I'm just pointing that out. The ones talking ish about Seth are the same ones who are accusing the Proudfoots in the beginning. They are now on payroll and considered. Okay, and this is a perfect example of things that I am talking about. Now we know certain YouTubers were picked by Tony to be on their so-called team. Now Tony has said in an interview, we have a small group of creators that we work with. And so we know those are their creators, right? And then, of course, the Proudfoots have a small group of YouTubers that they go on and they talk to and they communicate with. And I mean, it's obvious that this side has an agenda and this side also has an agenda. But the only agenda that I'm looking for is the truth of what happened to Sebastian. I could care less about either side, either group, right? If he was purely playing the grieving father, we need to give him an Emmy. Exactly. People want to tell Seth how horrible he is, but just ignore all of Chris and Katie's red flags. Yeah, which I can't do. I can't do that. Tony spoke on the Ponzi scheme. Julie hasn't been on the case long. She's looking for attention and loves to gossip. Hello, Bluegrass Metals. Welcome in. October 50. Hello. Bree. Last time I spoke to Sebastian. Should it be that's the last time I seen him? I don't know. That was an odd sentence. Seth is a broken man, and there for everyone to see. I really feel for him. Tony bankrupted $500,000 in 2 years. Who spends that? Well, really, I mean, how he spends his money, I could care less about how he spends his money. But the one thing I will say is I had seen a couple of videos of Seth prior to Tony coming in. Okay, before Tony come in and helped, like whatever, took over. Before Tony come in and joined Seth's team, I did see a couple of videos of Seth, and I will say that it does appear that Seth's attitude changed a lot once Tony got involved. Because before that, it didn't seem like that, but oh, thank you, Anne. I appreciate that. Okay, now, and another thing I did want to address is that I've heard a lot of people criticize Seth for having donations or getting donations and going live on YouTube once a month and accepting donations from people. And the one thing I will say about that is I don't like that, because every single YouTuber that is sitting there criticizing Seth for making money off of his son's case, they are doing the exact same thing. So it's okay for YouTubers to sit there and talk about Sebastian's case and make money off it, but it's not okay for his father to discuss his case and take donations from people that are offering him donations to help in whatever it is, you know what I mean, for whatever the donations are for. Chrissy just kindly saying, if you haven't, please hear Tony said on BJ's he's still traumatized by that past company where most of the workers were victims. Yeah, this, like I said, this really isn't about that prayer warrior, but I did hear that. So I just don't know why we're criticizing, people are criticizing Seth for taking donations or whatever when, when these YouTubers are sitting there making money off of Sebastian. Yeah. So, that is what it is. That's my piece on that. Hey, Kristen, welcome in. I gotta message you later. I gotta tell you something, by the way. Okay, let's see. Another thing that I wanted to address is I've seen and heard a lot of people, um, like bashing Seth because he has an inconsistent work history or he's on disability and he doesn't want to work or whatever, right? But it's like, is okay. I'm trying to remember the exact wording to the comment, but it was something like Seth is 45 years old and he only has a consistent work history for 5 years. And it's like, okay, all of these things, and the people saying these things are obviously the people who are on the Proudfoot side that are against Seth in the first place. But what I want to say is, okay, so you're mad because people are calling out, Chris hitting Sebastian with a belt, throwing his stuff away, bashing him for, you know, coming online and being the way he's been. Um, so in to combat that, what you come out and you say, well, Seth is a crappy worker, or Seth doesn't want to work, he's lazy. That's what, blah, blah, blah. It's like, really, I mean, if you had a scale, okay, and you had abuse on one side and an inconsistent work history on the other, which matters more? Which weighs more? Like, I just don't see the reason why his work history, what that has anything to do with Sebastian being missing. Like, that's the thing. People are calling out what they think and see and hear from the Proudfoots because Sebastian was last in their home when he went missing. He was under Katie's care. Now, I could understand ripping Seth and his life apart if he was the one involved, if he was the one in care of Sebastian when Sebastian just poof and vanished, right? Then, okay, yes, it's fair game. Let's, grab shovels. Let's start digging. I get it. Um, let's see what some of you guys are saying. There's a lot of hypocrisy on these streets. Yes, there is. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, I don't want to miss anybody's comments. Oh, Serenity, thank you for the super chat. He also was a stay at home dad for Sebastian for several years. That is true. When Katie was in the Navy, Seth was home with Sebastian. Yep, that is true. 100%. I don't like it either. I never understood that. If people want to give money, let them. It's up to the person who receives it to do the right thing with it. Correct. Correct. Seth lived paycheck to paycheck, could not work, searched, injured his shoulder, had surgery. His sister set up the GoFundMe and is in charge of the funds. Yes. Okay, let me check something real quick, guys. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. I did receive it. Thank you. All right. Hello, Kimberly. Welcome in. Oh, okay. We all know a man or woman staying at home with a child is a job. Correct. It is. Okay. Now, let me see here. Okay, so people, I did also see that people, okay, so people were going after Seth and saying, well, he only searched 4 times. He stopped searching because, he didn't want to lose his disability, blah, 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 because that's what matters to him. And I do want to kind of address that because it's crazy to me. Oh, thank you, Nicole. It's crazy to me that people are attacking Seth for not going out and searching enough, but yet the Proudfoots are not out searching on foot either. They're not boots on the ground searching. They haven't been. So why is it really, why does it make Seth an awful person if he's not searching every day, but it's cool for the Proudfoots not to search? The people who were in charge of Sebastian when he went missing at the time. The mother of the child. Don't you think that she should be out searching for her missing son? But we're going to attack Seth because he's not out there every day searching. But it's like I said, it's cool. This is what people can't do, right? Like, this is the problem though, because it's like you can agree with something Seth does, you can disagree with some things that he does. You can agree with the Proudfoots on some things they do. You can disagree with the Proudfoots on something they do. But if you agree with Seth, you can't agree with the Proudfoots. If you agree with the Proudfoots, you can't agree with Seth. And it's like, this is crazy, because here it is again. We're like, it's just compiling a bunch of crap on top of the truth. The truth is being buried by this, that, and the other thing. And every time it happens, it's more convoluted, more convoluted, more convoluted. And eventually, I mean, how are we ever going to find the truth? And that's the problem, because that is what we all are looking for. That is supposed to be the main goal, right? Yes, I'm so tired of people bashing Seth and having compassion for Katie. You don't look for someone when you already know the truth. Seth had to stop searching because he had to work to pay bills, too. He had surgery. I don't know who is responsible for Sebastian going missing, but what I do know is that a good mother doesn't have their child around a tier 3 SO that also abused her as a child. Make that make sense. Well, I 100% agree with you there. I have my thoughts and my theories and my opinions, and, but really, we don't know. We weren't there, right? But it's okay for the Proudfoots to leave the state. Exactly. Exactly. And to me, the one major thing to me as a mother is there is absolutely no way I would be able to leave my home if I had even a inch of a thought that my son might return. And I just don't understand that behavior. I don't understand that way of thinking. I know they said she left because of death threats or whatever, but like, threaten my life. Go for it, because my son's gone. He was my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's just me, but I mean, come at me. You know what I mean? Because my son's missing and that's all that matters. Hi, Seth. All it does is distract from finding Sebastian. All I care about is finding my son. The only side that matters is Sebastian. which is why I must find him. Be blessed, everyone, and stay safe. I agree. I agree that is all that matters. But I think all of this stuff just gets piled, like I said, it gets piled on, piled on, piled on. And then you get to this point where the truth is so buried, you don't even know, you know what I mean? You don't even know how, like, how to get to it at this point. Blanket and snacks on the porch, but didn't he know the code? Did you change it? I had heard that before about her putting a blanket and snacks on the porch. But that's a really good point, because why would you leave snacks and a blanket outside if he knew the code to get in? That's exactly what I'm trying to say, Seth. And I think, yeah, it's wild. Like, I think with everything the way that it is at this point, like, there's so much water under the bridge between everybody involved, all the characters involved, that I don't know if I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I don't want to, I don't, I would be so sick with worry. I would not be able to function properly if my daughter was missing. Right. Right. If we find Sebastian, we find the truth. That is exactly correct. That's the one thing that everybody claims to agree on, is that Sebastian needs to be found. Sebastian needs to be brought home. And then, go from there with trying to seek justice for whatever happened. Yes, it's just not right. It makes no sense. You don't leave your home if your child is missing. See, like that's, people say that to me all the time. Well, you seem very one-sided. I've had creators go, "Well, I've never really watched you because you've always seemed so one-sided." But it's like, look at the behavior. Look at the things that have come out. Look at the things that have been brought to, and it's like, it's very hard for me as a mother to see some of the things that Katie has done, and and it's very hard for me to say, yeah, that's normal, or yeah, good for her. You know what I mean? Um, Seth was bashed for going to Tony's a few days during Christmas, but okay, KP left home shortly after. Yeah, yeah. And the one thing I will say, and I don't know if Seth is still in here or not, but the one thing I will say, and again, I don't, I didn't see or hear Seth say this himself. I didn't hear have Tony say this himself, but lots of people had said that. So Julie had stated that she got a message from a follower of hers, and they said, "Listen, I really like you. I really like your channel, but Seth and Tony are saying that if we follow you, they want nothing to do with us anymore." And and they said that Seth and Tony are saying that we have to choose sides. And I just think, when I heard that, I was like really shocked, because I always viewed Seth as this heartbroken dad who really just wanted to find his son, at like, no matter what. And then, when I heard that, I was like, that's crazy, because sides is exactly why we are in the spot we are in right now with this case. You know, I don't think Seth, for the record, I do not think Seth had anything to do with his son's disappearance. I know there's people saying that they think he's got him hidden somewhere. I don't believe that at all. I think that's insane. As a matter of fact, the things that Chris and Katie have done, I mean, first of all, not only have they both said that they don't believe Seth has anything to do with it, but the fact that when they contacted Seth, when Sebastian went missing, the fact that Chris said, listen, I don't know how to tell you that, whatever he said, don't be mad, Sebastian's missing. When they didn't immediately ask Seth if he had seen or heard from Sebastian, that tells you right there that they knew that Seth had nothing to do with it. They knew that Seth was not with his son. When um, when Katie up and left her house after Sebastian went missing, when she left her home, that told me she knew Sebastian would not be coming back there. And now this is all just my opinion based off of my feelings of the research I've done and my perception of it, okay? I want everybody to think for themselves and form their own opinions. The fact that Katie was donating clothes of Sebastian's. Now, I know it's been said that they were older clothes that didn't fit him anymore, clothes he had outgrown. But you've got all the time in the world to get rid of clothes he'd outgrown. And then he goes missing, and you think that's the best time to get rid of those clothes? That seems fishy to me. The fact that you wouldn't let AWP, oh my gosh. The fact that you wouldn't let America's Most Wanted in your home is fishy to me. It is suspect to me. And I know they said it was for privacy, but your house has already been all over the internet. The inside of your house is on Zillow. So I don't think, and you've already had interviewers in your house. So I don't think that privacy is the issue here. I really don't. Seth, where do you think we need to be searching? Are there certain mapped areas that haven't been as searched that we need to and plan groups? How else can we help? Now, one thing I do want to say is, so let me go back to Tony stating that, they have a small group of YouTubers that they work with, that they'll talk to, that they go on panels with, that they will, participate in, right? The one thing I will say is I think, because both sides do that, and I think that's what gives the illusion that they have an agenda to push, or that certain creators had to sign a paper in order to work with Seth and Tony. A lot of people are talking about NDAs and, that team signing NDAs. And that's why that's why Seth and Tony will work with those channels. I don't, I have no idea if any of that is true or not about about signing papers or any of that. But they don't, neither Chris's side or this side or Seth's side do talk to channels that are not on their respective teams. So I don't know, maybe it would, I would like to talk to Seth, but you know what I mean? I'm not on the green team, or I'm not on that team. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to talk to Katie, but I'm not on their approved list of people either. So maybe it would help if people would step outside of their comfort zone, or outside of their, their circle, and maybe talk to somebody that's in the middle, somebody that's not on either side, and somebody that really is just looking for the truth of what happened to Sebastian, where he is at. So that's just, I wanted to put that out there because, it does paint a picture, and, I'm just trying to be honest. No one signed anything to work with me. NDAs were signed with companies because that is what these companies' legal team wanted. Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying that. I've seen supporters of Seth go on Proudfoot supporters panels and they get attacked, berated, and absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. That's the problem, right? Can't be in the circle of Chris and Katie Proudfoot if you're being honest, right? Seth, did the panelists and producers of America's Most Wanted know about CP's angry, self-incriminating, in my opinion, threatening statements on certain YouTube channels. If you ask Seth, he will answer your questions. Anyone who says anything bad about Seth, like accusing him, makes you look suspect and minion-like. Why did KP say the last time I spoke to Sebastian? When did she last see him? Well, I believe she said spoke because, and I've talked about this previously, I believe she used those words because, so for the longest time, she just mentioned him going to bed and then, um, and, waking up in the morning and he wasn't there. And then like 20 days later, she came out and mentioned not 20 days, don't quote me on the days, but it was like way later that she came out and she mentioned the thud. And then it was way later after the thud that she mentioned Sebastian actually answering her after she heard the thud. So what she was referring to in the AMW, when she said that was the last time I spoke to my son, it's because she said, I don't care what you're doing in there, go lay down and go to sleep. And he answered back and said, yes, ma'am. And she's saying that was the last time I talked to my son. Let's see. I don't want to miss anything. Discovering the truth. In my opinion, I agree with Seth and Tony for only working with trustworthy people because if pertinent info get to suspects, they could move Sebastian. Veronica, but he did pass a poly and showed documentation of his whereabouts. Actually, Seth, if you're still in here, one question I do have is it's been said. Now, I couldn't find this in an article. I couldn't find it in an interview. I actually saw the Nick Burris interview where your boss was on there with him and it was not mentioned in there. So I did want to ask you in person, if at all possible. I know you were at work that night, but there's a lot of people that are stating, hey, Becky, there's a lot of people that are stating for 2 hours that night you were not working and you were taking a nap or whatever. So I just wanted to ask you that personally because I know how hearsay works out here on the internet. I mean, again, I don't think you have any involvement, but I just wanted to ask because I have heard it mentioned. Mr. Rogers has answered my questions when I've asked them. He is, oh, can't see now. He is very polite and truthful. I respect that. He doesn't have to answer anyone, really, in my opinion. They can't keep their story straight. All that comes out of their mouths are lies. Yeah, which video was it that I did? Let me tell you, because I did that by timeline of each time she changed her story, each time she added something in. Let me just, because I want to give you the right video. I don't want to give you the wrong one. Let me see here. It must have been a live. Oh, it was the live I did called Why Are You Focused on the Proudfoots? That's the video. And I went day by day, in chronological order about how her story changed, how everything changed. When people questioned why she didn't go check on him or other things, seems to me she changed her story. Well, like I said, I was on camera the whole shift except when I was using the bathroom, which is located within the secured area. I was okay. So then it's not true, the whole 2 hour thing. Thank you. Because that was bugging me. Because every time I was like defending Seth for being at work, being on camera, I kept getting, well, he was not on camera for 2 hours. He was taking a nap, blah, blah, blah. So thank you for confirming that for me. Well, Serenity, like I said, I just wanted to ask him himself, because Like I said, you never know what you hear out here. So I really appreciate that. Yes, thank you very much for answering that. Okay, let's see. Um, another thing that I did want to mention quickly. Bye, Seth. Have a good day. Keep the faith. Thank you for answering those questions. Now, um, let me see. Hold on. I'm going through my notes here. Honestly, the only one who needs to answer anything is KP because she was last with Sebastian. Well, you don't see her coming in my chats. You don't see her or Chris coming in my chats. Let's see. This is why I quit watching everyone except for this channel. Miss Fu, thank you so much. That's very much appreciated. Seth, have faith. I say this because my son on drugs in the street. I went looking for him and talked to Jesus, praying all the way. Jesus said, "Turn around," and there was my son. Wow, that's crazy. That's awesome, man. Glad you found him. Katie pretends she doesn't follow along with social media, but she watches everything they both do. Some people still mix up about 2 hours sleeping in his car. Seth wasn't allowed, nor did he go nap in his car at work. I think that came up with Seth slept in a car in front of Proudfoot home first night. Seb was gone. Seth loves and is worried enough to search for his son. The Proudfoots are only concerned with is hanging on YouTube talking crap about people and defending themselves. CNY never asks. CNY, thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. Okay. Let's see. I I just can't. Seth, praying you find your son safe from Mississippi. Yes, Becky. That's what we all want, no matter what. We all want Sebastian found safe. We all want him to come home. And we all want the truth. Spirit Mystic, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Everybody that's just coming in, please do me a favor and hit that like button if you have not already done so. And please consider subscribing to the channel. It's a free way to help support the channel and what we do here. Thank you, Mama's World. I appreciate that. Very much appreciated. But it is that's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying is people just saying things without any proof or evidence or anything like that. Like, for example, the 2 hours. Like, I don't understand why people can, like, why people just put these things out there, and everything gets so convoluted, and people don't know if it's true, if it's false. They don't know what to believe. Oh, okay, Mama's World. I'll look for your emails. Um, I just found this channel and I love it. I look forward to it. Oh, thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. But people don't know what to believe, who to believe. And, I say it all the time, like, talk is cheap, and there's a lot of cheap people out there. And it's easy to be taken for a ride, if you know what I'm saying. It's easy to be taken for a ride. And I just don't want to be a part of that. So that's why you know, I would like proof of whatever is being said. You know what I mean? Do you have it on video? Do you have him saying it out of his mouth? And, when I first came into this case, that's the first thing that I did was I was like, because I was warned that, listen, this case is crazy. It's a circus. There's a lot of stuff going on. Um, and so what I did was like, I don't want to hear any hearsay. I don't want to hear any rumors. Like, I don't want any of that. So I immediately went to Chris and Katie and Seth, everything I could find of them being on interviews and panels and everything like that, because I just wanted it from their words, which is why I did that video that I was telling you about, that live that I was just explaining to you guys about. Um, oh, thank you, Becky. Um, because I did notice all the changes. I did notice the details changing, the times changing, things being inserted in to combat speculation that had been going around online. In my opinion, it's usually either the PF or their group that's putting out misinformation, almost like they want to confuse people so Sebastian isn't found. Yes. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That doesn't help. That's just like piling all this crap on. I agree. And when I say anything or say any opinions, it's because I heard it straight from KP, CP, or Seth's mouth. And I could have missed it, Michelle. I mean, I know I watched it. I watched the interview on Lore Lodge, but there's so much going on, and I have so much going on in my personal life that that's what I got notebooks. I got notebooks full of notes here, but Seth was here, so it was just easier for me to ask that question. Right, because they did hear it on my channel, and me not being a part of that, you know what I'm saying, of like like a specific team or whatever. Um, yes. So thank you for that, prayer warrior. It's like they add a detail after listening to YouTube. It's crazy. And Ellie, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm with you there. I believe the Proudfoots have put out a lot of misinformation on purpose and use certain. Yeah, I agree too. I got to go over here for a second. We're at 3 out of 10. If you guys want to help with the goal, that would be awesome. Let's see. I know, guys, this is not something that I normally do, so it's different. But I really want to try to help as many kids as possible, bring awareness to their case. Oh, Mama's World, I just got an email from you, so I'll definitely make sure I check that later. And aside from the goal, because I did have it set. Listen, how do I want to do this? Oh, just another human. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Very much appreciated. It says it's ended. Mine's still up on my end. I don't know. I know I had it set for an hour. Um, but yeah. How long have I been on? Oh no, there's still like 7, 8 minutes left. But even if I don't make the thing, I'm still gonna do it anyway because I appreciate you guys that did try to pitch in to help with the goal. So I'm just gonna do it anyway. So every day for the rest of this week, I will be introducing a new case and talking about it and trying to bring awareness to it. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys do want to, if you guys still want to help in a different way, if you guys still want to help support the channel and what we do here to keep us going, you can always do so through Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. It's always appreciated, especially with the stuff we've got going on now, um, like moving and all of that. But yeah, so I really appreciate your guys' help, and I'm still going to do that. Even though we didn't meet the goal, you guys tried and you guys helped. So I'm definitely going to still do that. So thank you. Creator has been saying this. She's been listening. Not sure what you're referring to there. But that, the misinformation, the smear campaigns, um, are just getting in the way of finding Sebastian. Now, what I want to do, what I want to know, yes, Veronica, yes, Cash Apps, PayPals, Venmos, they go directly to me instead of you, and YouTube doesn't take the cut out of there. So anything is appreciated, guys. Um, One thing I do want to know is, are there any, I want to find out if there are any current searches being done, like on foot. Oh no, you're totally good discovering the truth. Don't listen. I understand. We've all got our issues. I totally understand where it's, uh, I'm just glad you're here supporting us this way. Thank you. Um, I would like to know what's going on with searches, like searches, if there's still any going on. Um, I I know I'm not anywhere near Tennessee, and I definitely don't have the funds to travel to Tennessee to set anything up in person. But um, I want to try to. Well, let me get more involved. Let me get more details and get a plan together because I do want to try to set something up that as far as searching goes. Okay. But I'll get back to that. Put a pin in that because I really want to have it all detailed out before I put it out there. um, but it's really hard too with like Ellie being so tight-lipped about everything. It makes it very difficult because they haven't come out and either confirmed or denied anything, you know, and that's hard too, especially when you have certain people going around claiming their innocence and that they've been vetted and cleared and vetted and cleared. Many, good Lord. but then law enforcement doesn't come out and, justify that or say yay or nay or, you know what I mean? Back that up. Has anybody mentioned any searching apps like they did in Kylie Rodney case? So people know what's already been searched and what's not. Yeah, I know, like the Caltopo app. I know. I have not heard anything, but if any of you guys know, um, if that's been done, that would be good to know because I know I kind of want to like refocus back to you're beautiful. I'm used to just, oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Only about I can, we do what we can. Yep, just another human. Very true. Um, yeah, trying to just get focused back to okay, where could he be? Where could he have possibly gone? You know, did did somebody take him? Were those flashlights in the backyard? Was he put into another vehicle? Where did that vehicle go after leaving the neighborhood? If that's what happened, you know, I I believe Seth, he is the only one desperate to find Sebastian. Why did AMW use old poster, not updated one from FBI? Even reward amount because they were given that one by whom? I saw a case where someone did drone searches and viewers could comb through the footage. I thought that was a really cool way. Your super chat? Okay, prayer warrior. Let me see. Prayer warrior, I don't have one for you. I have just another human, Spirit Mystic, Serenity, Veronica, and Nicole. That's it. Unless, yeah, nope. I don't have one for you for a super chat. Or did you do a let me see. I do not. It did not go through. Just so you know, prayer warrior. I watched the 3 a.m. lights video in slow motion, but only on my phone. Definitely saw something different through. Oh, different though than previously. I did. I actually was really looking. I know I was really looking at it when they pulled it up on America's Most Wanted, and yeah, there's. I mean, I don't know what to think because I did see Seth say that it wasn't flashlights also, but I don't know. I feel like they are flashlights. Like I don't know. Maybe Seth could have been given the wrong information because it definitely one is. I mean, they're definitely moving, and they aren't moving together like headlights on a vehicle. So I don't think that that's what it is. But again, you guys that don't. This is just my opinion. Not stating anything as fact. Hello, Bling and Beezy. I haven't been able to catch lives lately. Glad you're still covering. Sebastian, yes. I heard Tony say in an interview that they went to KP Mom's, but I'm curious if any woods around her area were searched. A lot of caves in Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina. No problem, prayer warrior. No problem. Yeah, I know because in Kylie's case, there was a Caltopo app, so all searchers. What in the world just happened? So all searchers were like listed and their routes were checked and all of that. So I don't have you guys ever heard of anything like that in this case? Is there some type of go to figure out where has been searched, where they haven't searched yet, things like that? Because that would be helpful to know. And then even people that can go there and don't donate some of their time if they can to go out and start searching. Like I was even trying to think. Listen, I was even trying to think like New York State. We're huge. We're a huge tourist state because we have the Adirondack Mountains, the Catskill Mountains, and you're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of land. You know, I mean, living in the mountains, you just you don't know. And I even thought about like doing some kind of thing like that here. Just I have posted some flyers, but I want to post more some like down in the Catskills, up in the Adirondacks. Can we do Hayden Manny's case, Christy? He has been missing from Muncie, Indiana for 5 years. Ugh. Before anyone noticed, how old is he? Yeah, yeah. If they don't have a search map where people are logging their search, maybe propose that idea to Seth because I'm sure it would be very help. That would be very helpful. Oh, I've seen it. I can't remember what it's from though. I know it's on. I know Justin has shown it. Silver's on the screen. Think that is his channel. He is fair and has searched a lot. I have thought about going to look in the Mississippi area and Tennessee. No, as far as I know, there was no tracking searchers. Yeah, I just I don't know, maybe we can come up with some ideas, something we can do to, try to help aid and, just at least if we could come up with some ideas to maybe help others that are out that way that are able to go and search, that would be helpful. Like I said, I would like to put some up in in our areas out here that are desolate type areas. I mean, I've never talked to Seth outside of him coming into my channel like that. I have not. I did hear recently though that somebody was out searching and somebody actually put like a note in their backpack and told them to like don't come back here again. Yeah, that would be cool, Becky. That would be cool. Me and my family, like we do a lot of hiking in the summer. So we like to go to these like trails and these different places, like these big hiking places. So I can definitely, after we get through what we're going through right now, and we are able to make it out there, I can definitely take some flyers and post them all around those areas. Uh, for Seth, after watching videos from Texas Roadhouse, I analyzed again the photo of the boy in North Carolina and found very interesting details that I would like Seth to see. Yesterday, I sent an email to Jay. Why don't you send an email to Seth's email? We are Sebastian's Army at gmail.com. And Gordana, then you can get him the information directly maybe. In my opinion, I believe searchers should wear GoPros not necessarily putting it on YouTube, but just to log everywhere and every. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea too. I think that should definitely happen as well. I do. I heard that. Why would anyone not want people searching? Yeah, see, when you have people that are going out and trying to search, and then you have other people that are threatening them, putting threatening notes in their bag to tell them to leave and stay away. That listen, that that is that is suspicious behavior. The only reason to do that is you're afraid of what's going to be found, in my opinion. Especially if it's not on, they're not on private property, they're not anywhere near you. It's okay, prayer warrior. Don't. It's okay. Um, it it makes it look like you are trying. You have stuff to hide. Exactly. Only guilty people act guilty. 100%. I believe that. Dude, I don't know what happened to my thing over here. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. Okay, sorry about that. The same reason they want the billboards down. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, listen, in my opinion, if you're not guilty, those billboards should not bother you one bit. If you don't have a guilty conscience or you don't have guilty knowledge, those billboards should not bother you. As a matter of fact, they've already been scrutinized at this point all over the internet. So, I mean, honestly, those billboards, come on. At least his face is out there. The one thing I did say about the billboards, which I don't know if anything, but the one thing I did say was that uh, the police, the sheriff's office or TBI or somebody else, somebody's phone number should be attached to those. Gordina, the boy they said it was. Did they show, mom first, did they show a picture of the boy that they said it was? Oh, wow, Nicole. Let me, um, Nicole, what was that kid's name again so I can write it down so I don't forget? But I didn't know that they showed a boy. Oh, thank you, Becky. I didn't know that they showed a picture of who that boy was in North Carolina. Oh, Hayden. Hayden. Oh, Lord. The same thing happened with that little girl, too, right? That Montgomery. Um, they thought CPS, they had said CPS took her, but CPS never did. Yeah, I just think at this point, it's trying to get through the it's trying to pull apart and get through the web of nonsense that has been weaved, that is all blocking the truth and where Sebastian is. And that is what matters. That is what we need to get back to. We have to help. We have to try to find a way to help, come up with ideas, come up with anything that may help lead to where he is. May help find him. then ask us not to look into the family and leave them alone. Yeah. I remember seeing the picture from the rest center that looked like Sebastian, but I don't remember ever seeing the boy that they claimed that it was. Little boy Noel was the same. Nobody knew he wasn't around. That's sad. I'm not on any side but Sebastian's. I really pray he gets found soon. It's been too long. It has been way too long. Like, and I think the best case scenario is that he is somewhere, right? Somebody is keeping him somewhere and he's safe and you know and he's okay, he's safe, he's alive. I don't even like to think about the opposite end of that spectrum. There's always hope until there's not, you know. I do too. Every day, every day, every day. It's crazy. Did you guys hear about that story? It was a few months ago. Um, a few months ago, this man was found in this person's basement. He had been taken off the street as a kid. He was kidnapped as a kid and kept in this person's house for 22 years. 22 years. I mean, it's wild. But there's no evidence pointing to Sebastian not being around anymore. So that's what I go with. He's out there somewhere. There are so many people that have been lost in the world, and it's sad. It is sad. Oh, hmm. And another thing that I did want to mention real quick, and I know I mentioned this earlier in the Why I Believe Katie is Shady video that I did. Um, but the one thing I did is when Katie was in that interview and and she said that there are so many other missing kids out there right now, and some that even need it more than her son. That was another thing for me because a mother with a missing child that really wants her child found is never going to say that. They're never going to put, not that they don't care about other missing children, but they're never going to say these other kids deserve to be found more than my child does. And when she has done and said a lot of things, and the scrutiny, yes, the scrutiny that they are getting from the public is all because of their own words and their own actions. At least I can speak, I can't speak for the whole public, but I can speak for myself. And that the things that they have said and done is the reason why I I look at them the way that I do. Chris and Katie stated how the dogs sleep with Katie when Chris isn't home. Why did he tell her to put the dogs up that night? Exactly. Exactly. And listen, here's another thing. If Katie, so Katie had said, Katie told the police, right? Well, according to Hayden Manis, got it. I got Hayden. I just didn't have his last name written down. Let me write that down. Okay. Katie had said, so by her own story, Sebastian went to bed. She heard a noise at 10 o'clock, told him to go to bed. He answered back. She went to bed, woke up the next morning, and he was gone. If that were true, if that were 100% true, and she knew nothing, like she literally just went to bed, her son was there, woke up, her son was gone, and had no idea of anything, a mother is not going to tell the police he walked out the door on his own. A mother is not going to tell the police he ran away because they don't know. That's not what a mother is going to do. A mother is not going to state what happened, not having no idea of what really happened. Katie laid that narrative out there to begin with. She laid the narrative out from the second the police got there that Sebastian walked out on his own / ran away, and that was it. Left on his own accord. She put that out there. Now, a mother that really had no idea what happened to her kid, and she's just in this, my God, panic mode. Where is he? What happened to him? A mother is not going to lay out a narrative not knowing or having any idea. Do you guys know what I'm saying? It's not going to happen. Now, any other person, like any mother, caring mother that had no skin in the game, right, would open her house and say, listen, I I went to bed, he was there, I woke up, he's gone. So open it up, bring in the luminol, bring in the dogs, bring in everything. Search my house, freaking tear it apart, because I don't know what happened to my son. That is not what Katie did. That was not Katie's reaction. That is not the narrative that Katie laid out there. For the longest time, I thought you were a different creator with two different channels. I swear there's 2 or 3 of you that sound just alike. I love your channel and your heart, though. You are the best. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate that. Nope. This is my channel. And I really truly believe that that was the plan. The plan was to tell the police he ran away, he left on his own accord, and that it would be treated as a runaway case, and that it would just be eventually dropped, forgotten about, moved on from, and they could have went on living with their life. But again, that's just my opinion. Those are my thoughts. Um, but they didn't count on it growing the way that it did. They didn't count on the internet picking it up and being so concerned. They didn't count on it getting the attention that this case has got. And I think that is what threw the wrench in their plan. And I think Seth's continuance of not letting this go and just I need to find my kid is also kind of a wrench in their plan. But I really think they just thought it would have disappeared and he would have just been another runaway, and the cops move on because they got better things to do. Listen, Tennessee, there's a lot of missing kids from a lot of states, but I Tennessee has got some cases, I tell you. Yeah, I think they just thought it would go away and go cold and they'd move on with their lives, and instead their lives got torn apart and shared all over the internet, and rightfully so. And all I can say is if it were me and one of my kids disappeared, I would expect that. I would expect to be suspect number one. I would expect for people to rip my life and apart. I would expect it. I would expect that type of thing because my kid disappeared under my watch, under my house, just up and vanished. I would expect people to look at me like that. I would expect people to dig into me like that, dig into my life, dig into my family, 100%. The fact that they didn't expect that tells me that they just thought this would go away. It would just blow over. He would just be another runaway kid and they could move on, in my opinion. Just a friendly reminder, please, if you guys have not already done so, please hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel. consider becoming a member of the family by getting a membership. I only have one tier. I don't have 3 or 4 different tiers. I have one tier. Just become a member of the family if you guys want to. That would be awesome. We'd love to have you. In my opinion, that was KP's guilty conscience not wanting people to search because her child will not be found. And that's heartbreaking too. You know, I just want to know where he is. Like we just want to find him and have him brought home. Like, good Lord. You know, everything else is just crazy. But if any of you guys know of where I can find if they have one, some people are saying they do, some people are saying they don't. Have like a tracking search where they've searched areas they've been to, things they've done. Oh, thank you, Mom, first for the 5 gifted. That is awesome. Really, really appreciate that. Everybody who got gifted, welcome to the family. That's awesome. Um, in my opinion, they may not have physical evidence, but I feel they have enough evidence of KP and CP contradicting themselves. So why haven't they been drug in and held? You know what's crazy is this morning I saw um, a case. It was a little boy. He was 13 years old. His dad lived in Colorado. He had to go to his dad's for a visit, and um, he went there for the visit, and the mom couldn't get a hold of him. This was, I think, 2 days later. The mom couldn't get a hold of him. The dad said they didn't get into a fight or anything, but that the kid just walked out. Kid just walked out the door, and they they had a lot of reasons to look at the father, but they didn't have actually any hard evidence. They didn't have any proof. They didn't have a body. They didn't have nothing else to go off of. Um, and this happened in 2011. The kid was 13 years old. It was not until 2017. Wait, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I think it was 2017. Might have been 2019. But it was not until then that they had found evidence of him. You know, they had found his shoes out in the up in the mountains. They had found a couple bones, and 6 miles up the mountain they found another one. You know what I mean? But it took all them years to build up enough evidence where they knew they could get a conviction. And I was like, wow. Like, I hope that's what's happening behind the scenes in this case. I hope they're trying to just like collect as much as they can. Um, but they really do have to have enough evidence to get anything to stick. But it was wild. It was crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine that. And even after all that time, even after like 8, 9 years, when the mom was in court, she couldn't even talk about her kid without breaking down and crying. Like, she couldn't do it. And to see Katie the way she is, I mean, to get in the car and do the reenactment of you driving around that morning, putting yourself back into that mindset of you driving around that morning, frantically looking for your child. And she was cool as a cucumber. And, she didn't break down. She didn't, it's her reactions just don't, the way she is just does not sit well with me. Yeah, his name was Dylan. He was just a cute little kid. I think the scene is set for the public, the new people they're hoping to win over that don't know the reality of the case. Yes, it has to be taking time to collect evidence. I have to believe that. I have to believe that too, or else we know we're looking at straight up corruption. I remember the case you were talking about. The son found pictures. Yes. Yes, the path. I saw that this morning. I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh. But it was just wild because some of the things, made me think of Sebastian's case, just like the kid just walking out, the parent being like, yep, just walked out the door. The parent's not concerned. The other family members are holding searches and stuff. And the dad who was responsible was just no part of it, didn't want no part of it. And it kind of reminded me of, you know, Chris and Katie. After he told his brother what had happened, found the boy, confronted his father, and then he went missing. Yes. Yep. What about if KP also has autism, which could explain her lack of emotion? I, I don't know. I don't know. Does she have? I don't know. I remember not long after Sebastian went missing, I seen a video of Chris and Katie at the Harley Davidson shop, and they looked like they had no worries in the world. Yeah. Yep. And it's just like listening to Chris on that clip, that he was like, I actually played it in a video. I've got so many though videos now at this point. I can't keep them straight. But where Chris literally talked about how after he went out and he laid his after he said his piece, I think is how we put it. Life's been beautiful and good ever since. And it's like, what an odd thing to say when your stepson is still missing. She's just unaliving. What? Don't forget her past as Katie Lynn Payne took plea deal to avoid. Michelle, listen. I think you're confused. There is another Katie Lynn Payne who was arrested and did take a plea deal for a little boy, for abusing a little boy. That's not this Katie. That's a different Katie Lynn Payne, because I found the same thing that you're talking about. But yeah, that's a different Katie Lynn Payne, just so you know. Katie was in the military. They are screened for medically for all kinds of things before boot camp. Okay, gotcha. I don't know if she does, just trying to be open minded. Gotcha. Yes, Teresa, that was awesome of Mom First to do that. We're growing our channel. We're growing. We're growing our family, surely, but slowly but surely. It's very much appreciated. I appreciate you guys all being here, and I hope you enjoy the content and what I bring to it. I just try to call it like I see it and speak the truth. CP told Dog on video, you will never find him. Please read her prior. That's what triggers CP. I mean, I think about Chris saying this case will go on for years. And who says that kind of stuff? Like, they've done so many things that are very suspicious. I mean, can you imagine if Seth would have said some of the things that they've said? He would have been vilified. Like, there would be no escape for him. They would be ripping him apart. But they're defending but they're defending Chris and Katie that have said all of these crazy, crazy things like it's nothing. Did you notice how Katie didn't say she had the windows rolled down, hollering? Yeah. Yeah. Nope, she did not. It's a matter of fact. When I saw her driving around and driving them around to do that, that's the first thing I thought. I go, well, at least she's consistent, because her window was not down when she was driving around the neighborhood that morning, supposedly looking and yelling for Sebastian, and her window's not down now. So she actually is doing a reenactment of that morning. You know what I mean? At least she's consistent with that anyway. If the mom did anything in that house, she would have been arrested like any other case first 2 months. My thoughts. Yeah, I don't think I don't think that that's the case, but again, we don't know because luminol was never brought in. Luminol was never brought in. So, you know what I mean? We really don't know. Allegedly, KP stopped and talked to a dog walker. I heard her mention that once and never heard it again. And again, all of these things that I'm talking about, I've heard straight from Chris and Katie. All obsessed money is donated. Wait, all obsessed money is donated, goes for the flyers, t-shirts, that stuff. You have a calm voice, and I'm sick of hearing loud ass YouTubers or they get all crazy yelling with extra noises. I hate that. You have always been calm and not add to your lives or videos. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Mike the LE, we're told he walked out that door, was treated like a runaway until it was changed to kidnapping and foul play. Yeah, and see, the cops have never come out and said there's no foul play involved. What they said was there's no evidence that supports foul play, but that could be changed. It's like when Craddock was asked about see, this is what kind of gives me hope that Ellie is investigating behind the scenes. Because when Craddock was asked about the flashlight video, Craddock said, it's not evidence to us right now, but it may be in the future, right? Because they have to be able to place people in that place. They have to be able to place people in that position, in that spot that night before they can say it's evidence of anything. So he does give me hope. And then when he said right off the bat, he did say, Mom said Sebastian is barefoot. I'm not going to say he was barefoot. And then if you guys listen to why I think it was in the video or the live I did, like why I look at the Proudfoot, why do I focus on the Proudfoots? Katie made a huge deal on one of the panels. She was asked how many pairs of shoes did Sebastian have? And she goes, I'm not going to tell you how many pairs of shoes he had, but I will tell you that they're all accounted for. And then went on to tell us about his like nighttime routine and whether or not he would shower before bed or not, but really was like, did not want people to ask about the shoes. And I found that interesting. Like, what's the deal with the shoes, lady? Why is that? You know what I mean? Oh, Veronica, I'm glad you like it here. I appreciate that. What, honey? Okay. CO also stated that the parents' shoes were all accounted for. My opinion only, but Ellie isn't doing anything. They're feeding Seth what they want, so he won't bug them. After calling to prove where tips are going, others are right. They are going to VM. Hello, Brianna's World. Oh, voicemail of a retired personnel. Oh. Scott, KP was the one that said, I don't know why Sebastian walked out that door, which made the Ellie think that he just walked out. And that's not the truth, or he would be seen on camera. Right. I agree. Yeah, I agree. So I'd definitely like to hear what you guys, what your guys' thoughts are on different things we can do to try to help figure things out, to maybe, different ideas we could do to try to help locate him. I mean, I don't know. We got to put our heads together. Even, I mean, like me and you guys, my community, you know, just put our heads together and try to figure some things out. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below after the live is over. I really appreciate you guys being here. I really don't like to do this, but I'm in a position right now where I feel like I should. So I'm going to ask you guys, we have to be out of where we are right now in 8 days. And it's a long story, but we don't have a place set up ready to go yet. You know, I have a family of 6. There's a lot going on in our life right now. But if you guys could, and you want to help and you can help and you're in a position where you can, please consider doing so. If you want to help us at all, through Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, links are all down in the description below, but only if you can. If you can't, I understand. Everybody's got hard times going on. But please share this video around. Please help the word get out there, because people can't keep going off of lies and misinformation and this, that, and the other thing. Like, it has to be about finding Sebastian. It has to be about finding the truth. So please like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Consider becoming a member of the family. What else? I think that's it. I'm going to end this one here. I really appreciate all of you guys who super chatted, who you guys tried to get to the goal. But like I said, even though I didn't get the goal completed, I will still be doing one live every day for the rest of the week with a new person. You're fine, Little Red. Thank you, Just Another Human. With a new person's case every day, just to try to get the awareness out there. There's a lot of missing kids out there. Yeah, thank you, Veronica. But I love you guys. Stay strong, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep spreading that light. And I will see you all next time. I love and appreciate all of you.